How you doing, YouTube? Today's presentation is going to cover the metal polishing process for the bolt. As you can see here, I've dismantled the bolt. Now, keep in mind that when you're polishing these bolts, some of these components may actually pick up a nice little shine to them, others will not. Here's the cocking knob. I've done the best that I could on the very top. You see a very nice sheen, whereas the side here is not it's not necessarily having the same type of luster as the top part. As you can see right there, back part of it has a couple of spaces where it is not as bright. However, keep in mind that this one is decent. Of course, it needs a little TLC. Back here, you can see some wear marks and see the differences in the shadows where it's rubbing. But ultimately, just remember that the objective is to polish this up as best as possible, because the smoother it is, not only do you remove the surface oxidation, but it also helps the weapon function correctly. Now here's an example of a piece that has very nice luster right there in the serial number of the bolt. Sorry, it's actually right there. I did try to polish the knob itself, and I did get a little bit of it, but then you see right here, you still have some kind of rough spots, not necessarily the best. You can see also a difference here and here. This I've already tried polishing, whereas this one's very has a lot of good luster to it. This one does not. So just kind of keep that thought in mind. Try to hit this surface area right here. Do apologize, I'm trying to do this single-handedly, and you always want to try to cover this area, basically the whole piece. I did do the cam right here, the roller cams. You can see it's got a nice sheen to it. It was dull, so this will help. And I basically started working on the rest of the shaft here, just for cosmetic appearance and overall well-being. Now this piece here, the connector rod, has not been polished, so you can see how there's got some rough spots. It doesn't have much luster. It's kind of a matte finish. But again, what you want to do is cover all these rolling parts. And in doing these rolling parts, that's where you'd put a little bit of white lithium grease, just to kind of give it a little bit of lubrication. As pretty much with most Soviet weapons, if it can run without lubrication, it's going to run. But this one here, you just kind of want to do a little bit of that, just a very light coat. Now I'm using the Blue Magic metal polish in a small little Dremel wheel, which pretty much most small Dremel kits you can get these little wheels, and you see how dark it is. And then I've tried to do some hand polishing with it in some of the areas once I put it down and it gets dark. But basically the process is just grab a little dab, put it on the, kind of rub it in, just like you would do just like when you're doing a wax job on a car, and just kind of work it back and forth and just continue. Now with some of these handheld tools, the one thing you got to keep in mind, especially if they're electric, which this is, as you can see right there, there's a difference between where it's been polished and not polished. But what you always want to do is be mindful that this is an electric motor. Now if you have air tools, of course, if you run out of air, then of course you got to allow the compressor to reload air into the chamber. But for the most part, it's a very tedious process. It can be a very messy process, but you can see here that you just continue working an area. It'll heat up. It's going to release the oxidation. Let's see what kind of work I've done here. Now this part won't polish very, very well because it is kind of worn on that aspect of it, whereas this here does look a little bit better. You can obviously see the Tula, the chef's triangle better than before in the other videos. But this side here is not going to polish up very well. But you can use any metal polish, Blue Magic, Mothers, Brasso, Malco metal polish. There's, I believe, Eagle One New Finish, and pretty much they all do the same thing. Of course, with the machine, it does speed up the process, but this one turned out really, really nice. And good thing about this, just like the stock, you can actually start seeing Arsenal stamps and things of that nature. There's a cartouche marking right there. So it's just kind of food for thought, but it does help the bolt, sticky bolt also. Okay, But this is just kind of something that I wanted to touch base with y'all. Thank you for watching. Please stay tuned.